Greetings and salutations, friends and gamers of all stripes. My name is GM Dave. I am your man behind the screen, and welcome back to RPG A Day 2021, where we are once again going to be playing another game of catch-up thanks to primarily technical issues involving an inability for me to properly connect to the internet. But instead of treating this as a problem, I've decided to go ahead and treat it as an opportunity and take the chance to tackle two prompts in the same video. Day 6 and Day 7, because I really do think that these two are going to springboard and work very well off of each other. So without any further ado, let's get into the Day 6 and 7 prompts for RPG A Day 2021, Flavor and Small. So when I initially saw that the Day 6 prompt was Flavor, my first thought was probably the same one that most other people involved in RPG A Day 2021 had. The flavor and style of your games, the kind of things you like to bring to the table. But I wanted to take a more different approach, a more literal approach, and actually talk about flavor as a sense, as a detail in the game that you, as either the game master or a player, can use to add a little bit of extra depth to what's going on. So naturally, as we are all aware, the way in which we interact with, perceive, and understand the world is through our physical senses. The things we see, smell, feel, hear, taste. All of these help us to understand and identify different aspects of the world around us, different aspects of the things that we are engaging with and engaging in. And these, alongside our instincts, allow us to understand and react to a myriad of different situations throughout our daily lives. And this is something that's true of the characters we play in these games as well. Descriptions of sight and sound are something that we get all the time in our games. They are baked into some of the skills with many of the different games we have. Followed by those are smell and touch, which are a little bit less utilized but still do find a place in there. But the one sense that sees the least use, one that I think could actually add quite a bit of depth and detail if used in a clever way, is taste. And when used in conjunction with smell, these two things can create very vivid depictions of the kinds of environments our characters are in. For example, let's take a couple of damp environments. A forest experiencing a fresh rain versus a damp and moldy dungeon. In the forest, you're going to get smells like petrichor and tastes on the air of potentially dust and tree sap, and the cool feel of the water, the constant patter of the rain as it hits the leaves and branches and bushes and the floor of the forest itself. These are all details that can be used to create a specific feeling for that forest, for the area that you're going through. By contrast, a damp dungeon, an equally wet environment, is going to just feel more cold and humid, most likely. It's probably going to taste a bit foul on the air. You might smell the scent of standing water or the musty, dusty stench of mold. And all of these are details that are going to parallel the raining forest, but they're details that are considerably more unpleasant and unpalatable to the human mind. And all of this leads us to our Day 7 prompt, Small. And the angle I want to take with that, I think, should be pretty clear by now, and that is to pay attention to the small details that we are providing in our games. Be you a player or a games master, the small details can add a whole lot to the world that you're presenting. And in more ways than just being evocative, it can also be very pragmatic as well. As mentioned previously, I prefer to use theater of the mind style play. I prefer to paint an image in the heads of my players via the descriptions that I'm giving them about what they're engaging with. And part of that, a very big part of that, involves small but key details. Things that they would notice, things that they should know that they can use in creative ways to give themselves, for example, an edge in combat. And combat is a particular area in theater of the mind style play where these small details have a lot of importance. These small details are going to help the players understand what the area they're engaging with is like, what the area they're fighting in is like. It'll help them get an idea of where the enemies are, what they might be able to use as cover, if they might be able to set up an ambush, so on and so forth. These little details, small key things that might seem like they're not important, could very well be just the sort of thing a creative player needs to get the edge they were looking for to succeed in a deadly combat. And it doesn't just have to be relegated to combat, of course. These small details of how we describe the environments that they're exploring could be just the thing to let the players know, hey, there's danger up ahead that I wasn't expecting. For example, if you're traveling through an old dilapidated building and all of a sudden one of your players starts smelling smoke on the air and tasting ash as well, that might be the kind of warning sign they needed to tell them, hey, wait a minute, is there a fire in this building somewhere? Or did somebody maybe sneak in here and set up camp? Combining that then with a sensory detail like the air temperature. Is it getting warmer as the smell is growing stronger, or is the temperature remaining the same? That could be a hint to tell them whether or not what they're smelling is an actual fire in the building, or just a bonfire that someone had built. These sorts of small details, both in and out of combat, not only go a long way towards enriching the game world and making it feel more vibrant and alive, but also can foster a lot of creativity in the players, or even in the GMs if it's a detail that the player is giving the GM about their character. So keep those small details in mind, friends and gamers, and with that, we have reached the ends of Day 6 and 7 of RPG A Day 2021. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and while you're down there, please open up the description box to follow me on my social media presences, in particular, Minds.com, where I back up the plurality of my content. While you're down there, you can also follow the Webtoons link to read my webcomic, Phoenix Rising. If the idea of a fantasy adventure webcomic with a touch of intrigue and comedy and a lot of heart sounds appealing to you, I guarantee that you're going to find something there to enjoy. With that now said and done, friends and gamers of all stripes, once again, my name is GM Dave. I am your man behind the screen, and as always, remember, in the world of tabletop games, you don't want to just sit back and watch, but get in there and game. Have a good one.